Mayor, you need to turn your mic.
Yeah. We'll try that again. I call the October 17th, 2022 council meeting to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Potato. Here. Brown. Cole.
Councilmember Cole is stuck in traffic. She will be here momentarily.
Hochstetter.
Here.
Newman. Here. Reed. Is Councilmember Reed absent, Mayor?
Councilmember Reed is absent tonight.
Stewart.
Here.
Thank you. All right.
Mayor, would you like to take a vote excusing Councilmember Reed?
Yes, I would. So do I have a motion to excuse Councilmember Reed? Councilmember Hochstetter.
Yeah, I move that we excuse Councilmember Reed from the meeting tonight as he called in ahead of time.
Councilmember Newman. Seconded by Councilmember Newman. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimous. All right, moving down to the consent agenda. Will the clerk please read the consent agenda?
Item number 1, stormwater capacity grant acceptance. Item 2, Sumner Springs Reservoir Recoat construction contract award. Item 3, Town Center utility in Warner PSC agreement schedule 74 design work. Item 4, Town Center Main and Wood PSC agreement schedule 74 design work. Item 5, Resolution 1639 setting public hearing Riverwalk Trail vacation. Item 6, purchase and sale agreement Nordyke acquisition 16602 64th Street East. Item 7, approval of the regular council meeting minutes from October 3rd, 2022, special study session of October 3rd, 2022, and October 10th, 2022 study session.
Thank you. Is there would Deputy Hochstetter please make a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
Yes, I move we adopt the consent agenda.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Mayor, please turn on your mic.
All right. Moving on. Tonight, we have a public hearing on resolution number 1640, tax year 2023 ad valorem property tax. I will open the hearing and call on Chief Cassandra Raymond.
Officer, tonight we'll be holding a public hearing for the 2023 City of Sumner Property Tax Levy. The 2023-2024 biennial budget is scheduled for adoption on December 5th of this year, 2022. 2023 will be the first year of that biennial budget. RCW 84.55.120 mandates a public hearing on revenue sources for the upcoming year's budget, including consideration of any potential increases in property tax revenues. This hearing process provides our City of Sumner residents the opportunity to voice their opinions prior to the adoption of the property tax levy. This public hearing presents a total proposed tax levy of $4,661,530, which includes an increase of 9.5% over last year's collections, plus the value of new construction improvement and administrative refunds. The proposed levy also includes funding for the City Council Strategic Reserve Fund, as well as funding to leverage for street and transportation projects. The final setting of the 2023 levy will be set by City Council, and a resolution for council action will be presented on November the 7th of 2022. And Mayor, with your permission, I do have a short presentation.
Okay.
As soon as I can get it queued up. Okay, the 2023 property tax levy. Sorry, I just have a little delay in my screen. Okay, so just a little information about our property tax levy. This is our most stable revenue source into our general fund, making up about 21% for 2023. When we begin our discussions for the property tax levy, this went to our Finance and Personnel Committee in October, as well as the City Council study session on October the 10th, tonight's public hearing, and then a resolution on November the 7th. We are required to pass that resolution and certify our property tax levy to Pierce County no later than November the 30th. When we look at property taxes, the RCW authorizing taxing districts with a population of 10,000 or more to increase our levy up to 1% from the highest lawful levy that was available since 1985. We are always provided by Pierce County what a sample of that ordinance or resolution would look like. And that's what I have snipped here. And we can see that based on last year's levy, the dollar amount of the previous year's levy amount would be an increase of 9.4726. And that would be our maximum allowable levy as permitted by RCW. In the past, we historically have left a little bit unlevied, and that's really referred to as our banked capacity. The difference between the city's requested levy and the maximum levy amount is the banked capacity. It's not necessarily an emergency reserve. It does not accrue from year to year. And it's recalculated annually as part of Pierce County's property tax certification. We do reserve that capacity through language in our resolution on an annual basis, but mathematically, it is just the difference between what we could levy and what we are asking to levy. When we look at our property tax distribution, the city of Sumner receives about 8% of the total property tax levy. The school district gets between 41 and 49%, the fire district about 14%, and then we can see the distribution. We've got taxing districts from the state all the way down to the library district, Pierce County Conservation Futures, and Sound Transit. We can see that the ones in red, we've marked those are voter approved levies. And that's something that we're always taking into account when we have this annual discussion. Now, the building blocks of our property tax levy begin with our assessed valuation. In tax year 2022 to tax year 2023, our overall citywide assessed valuation increased 16%. We also receive information from Pierce County that gives us the average assessed valuation for a single family residence, which also increased 16%. The increases in the assessed valuation aren't reflected in what the increase is that we see to our property taxes. If assessed valuation goes up 16%, as much as I would love to get an extra 16% of revenue, it's really not. The dollar amount levied is calculated by the assessed valuation divided by 1,000 and then multiplied by the levy rate. When we look at our property tax levy discussions, there are a lot of considerations that we are reviewing, especially right now. We've got a very uncertain economy. We are in a much higher inflationary picture than we've seen ourselves in the past. We also consider what's happening with our neighbors, future tax actions by the library district, the fire district, the school district. And then from the city side, we're looking at our unmet budget needs as well. This has been an in-depth budget process. As we've gone through the departments, there have been a lot of budget asks that we haven't been able to meet, and we've been discussing those with our city council. And then the opportunity costs, part of that unmet budget need are really projects that we could use additional resources in order to get accomplished for the community. Our proposed levy rate, this is the proposal from the mayor, the finance committee, and the staff recommendation, is to levy the allowable amount. This would give us an increase in the general fund over 2022 of a little over $403,000. The levy per 1,000, again, that's the other building block of that property tax levy rate, would be 97 cents per thousand. So for an average single family residence, the change per month from the 2022 city portion would be $5.07. In the past, we have levied 1% increase over the prior year collections. If we did that same thing, the 1% to a full levy would be an increase to the general fund of about $360,000. And the monthly increase for the average homeowner from 1% to the full levy would be an extra $3.11 per month. So here I've broken down the average homeowner impact from tax year 2022 based on the average assessed valuation for a single family home, the tax year 2022 levy rate, and what the levy amount is for the city portion of the property tax. And then I've calculated the same thing for tax year 2023 based on the maximum allowable levy. The change, our average single family valuation increased by about $72,000. The change in the city's portion of the property tax would be $60.84 a year or $5.07 a month. And again, the annual increase for the average homeowner from the difference between assessing 1% to the full levy is an annual change of $37.31 and a monthly of $3.11. Again, on our next steps, this evening is our public hearing. November 7th, we are scheduled to come to City Council for a vote on our property tax resolution, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. For the record, I will mention that Councilmember Cole did arrive at 6:09. So thank you. Do I have anybody who would like to speak on this public hearing? Anybody like to speak on the public hearing? Oh, okay, could you come up to the podium, and Michelle, could you read comment rules? I was talking to her, but come on up.
I'm going to read a few rules first before you begin your comments.
Okay.
This time is reserved for the public hearing on the topic identified on tonight's agenda. Please begin your comments by stating for the record your name and address or the city where you reside, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak. As a reminder, this portion of the meeting is the council's opportunity to hear from you and not a time to engage in debate, and the council will not be answering questions.
Thank you, Michelle.
Okay. My name is Pam Johnson and I own Into Vintage and it's located at 1109. So I was under the assumption that there was a
I'm sorry, Pam. I'm sorry, Pam, for the interruption. Can you push the person button on your microphone?
Want me to repeat myself?
No, you just cut out right after, right where you said where you were.
Okay.
Thanks,
So
Pam.
I was under the assumption that there was $1 million surplus. I'm a little bit confused as to why we're asking for this increase in property taxes right now, especially when during the state of the economy, we're looking at a recession, we're looking at gas increasing. A lot of people can barely afford groceries, and you folks are looking at increasing our property taxes right now. And also, you're referring to these unmet budget needs, yet I don't see exactly what those unmet budget needs are. I mean, there's just that line item there that says unmet budget needs. And if there is that surplus, I don't know why we have those unmet budget needs. I don't understand why, if there's that extra money, those unmet budget needs aren't being met by that surplus. So I think that there's this issue of, Sumner is populated by a number of elderly people. And I think that the folks that have been contacting me as a business owner in particular, we're chasing people out of this town. And because of that, the housing prices are still not coming down, obviously, as you can see by the assessed value going up. It's getting more and more difficult for people to continue to purchase homes in this town. And by you continuing to assess the property taxes the way you are, it's going to continue to make it difficult for people to purchase homes. And right now, the real estate market is beginning to tank. So I don't know if I truly continue to believe that those assessed values are going to stay where they're at, because the real estate market is not continuing to escalate like it was. So I'm not in favor of this increased assessed value of property taxes, especially myself as a business owner in regard to what my business building is worth. So thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Do we have any others? Come up and say your name and address and.
Hi, my name is Ken Cologne from 515 Kincaid Avenue. And I haven't been to one of these meetings for a while. And I'm just, be honest with you, I'm floored. I'm floored because there's not many residents here. When you're talking about taxes and just our taxes have increased to the point where when we retire, we may not be able to live in this beautiful town that we've been here for many, many years. And so I get it. You need money to make things move, but we don't really see much moving. I'll give you, for instance, I actually was mowing the lawn out on Kincaid that was growing through the cracks to this place. I actually had to call in and say, hey, can you guys come on by, at least do some crack sealing? And yeah, they did. They came by a crack sealing. Our roads are falling apart. And if the young lady there said there's a surplus, this even floors me even more. So I hope this is telecasted out, and I hope that the people who live here really rile up and say, no, enough is enough. If we have to live on a certain amount of money per year, per month, I think the city should do the same thing. So please take that in consideration. It's not only that there's elderly here, they're going to be taxed out of their houses, but you're going to destroy this beautiful little city if you continue to just, the voice, the young lady here said that you wish you got 16%. My goodness. Be the good stewards of the money. And please reconsider this, because you're going to tax everybody out of this place, business included. And when the business leave, they'll leave. They won't tell you. They won't come here and say anything. They'll leave. So thank you very much. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Come on up.
Yeah, my name is Dave Baker. I live at 403 Alder Avenue in Sumner. Lived here almost 59 years, but it's getting so everything's going up. Property taxes are almost every year they raise. And also next year now, natural gas is going to go up. They say $200 a year, and the PSC is going to go up. Groceries are already up. And just we're kind of on a fixed income. Therefore, it's harder and harder to make ends meet, like the gentleman said there. But I just wish the council would consider a lower figure, maybe like the one we had last year, to keep it at a minimum there. And otherwise, we may have to move out of Sumner, find someplace other than Sumner to live. But we like it here, so. And so I appreciate if you'd consider that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right.
Mayor.
Seeing-
If you could remind the people that are attending virtually to use the raise your hand feature or press *9 if they're calling in.
Yes, if there's anybody online that would like to make a comment, please press *9 and we will put you on. Any other comments?
Doesn't appear so, Mayor, but before we close the public hearing, if you could have the clerk mention who we received public comment
Yes,
from.
I was headed there.
Thank you.
Michelle, did you receive any comments?
Yes, Mayor, I received 8 comments. They will be included in the meeting minutes from tonight's meeting. Those comments were from Andy Elfers, Bertie Enslow, Jody Howell, Linda Melton, Lyle Milton, Samantha Bianco, Susan and Benjamin Mendoza, and Susan Atkinson.
Thank you, Michelle. Okay. Any more before I close the hearing? All right. Hearing closed at 6:22. You have a question? I can.
Yeah, I was wondering on those public comments, were you supposed to say if they were for or against the tax raise?
Council has been provided with a copy of all of those written comments. They were forwarded to council today so that you can read them in their entirety.
Okay, so the information is only for us.
No, it'll be part of the packet from tonight's meeting. It'll be public record. We're just not going to read every single one of them into the record
Okay.
tonight.
Okay, I knew you weren't going to read them, but I thought it might be that we had 4 against and 3 for, or something like that, but not.
And I don't know that information, but you've all been provided copies.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay. We have no unfinished business tonight, and now we have regular public comment. Is there anybody that would like to make a comment from the audience about anything that is not on the agenda tonight? Are you going to make a comment? Okay. All right. Seeing none, we will move on to new business. And the first item on the agenda is Pierce County Regional Council Representative Selection. City Administrator Jason Wilson.
Mayor, would you like a motion first?
Excuse me, what?
Would you like a motion first?
Yes, I would like Deputy Mayor Hochstetter to make a motion.
Yeah, I move we appoint a member of our council to the Pierce County Regional Council as our representative.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Councilmember Boteto,
I second it.
seconded by Councilmember Boteto. Mr. Wilson. Carry on.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Jason Wilson, your city administrator. On October 3rd, 2022, pursuant to Council Rule 23.3, Councilmember Reed was removed from his committee responsibilities, which included representing the city at the Pierce County Regional Council. Currently, Councilmember Newman serves as the alternate. However, per the council rules, the council must appoint and confirm through a majority of vote of council who your primary representative will be for Pierce County Regional Council, and then if necessary, also appoint an alternate. In your council packet, there's a snippet of your council rule 21, which covers what I just discussed. And I recommend that council discuss amongst yourselves and then nominate somebody to fill that primary role and alternate as necessary, and then vote.
All right. Are there any council members who'd like to make a motion? Deputy Mayor Hochstetter.
Yes, I'd like to nominate Councilmember Charlotte Newman to represent us at the committee.
Thank you. Any other nominations? Do we have a second?
I second that
Councilmember-
nomination.
Yeah, we have a motion and a second for Councilmember Newman to be our new Pierce County Regional Council representative selection. I close the nominations.
Mayor, if I can just interject just a moment here.
Mhm.
We actually don't need a motion and a second for this. So if there's any other people that want to be nominated, that would be appropriate. And then we can do a second ask for anybody who wants to be the alternate.
Okay,
So there'd be two different things you're gonna to potentially vote on, but it wouldn't be the form of a motion because the original motion was Deputy Mayor Hochstetter's opened up this for debate. So procedurally, Andrea, correct me if I'm wrong, the next thing to do, if nobody else is interested in fulfilling the primary role, would be to take a vote for Councilmember Newman to be appointed.
Anybody else interested in being on that? No? None. Okay, so Michelle, would you call the roll?
Newman,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Brown,
No.
Cole,
Yes.
Potato,
Yes.
Hochstetter,
Yes.
All right. Passes 5-1. And congratulations to our new Pierce County Regional Council representative. Have fun.
And Mayor, if council does need to appoint an alternate to this committee as well. So that'd be the next phase of this.
All right. So, yes. Councilmember Head.
Well, we don't need to be nominated. We can just say whether we would like to do it, because I would put myself out there to be the alternate.
Anybody else interested in this? No? No? Do we need to vote on that?
You do need to vote on that.
All right. All in favor?
And it'd be a roll call vote, Mayor.
Has to be a roll call. Okay.
Yes.
Reed, no, excuse me, Brown,
No.
Hochstetter,
Yes.
Newman,
Yes.
Potato,
Yes.
Cole.
Yes.
Okay. Alternate is Deputy Mayor Hochstetter. Well, that couldn't have been any more confusing. Now we move on to council committee selection. Deputy Mayor Hochstetter, would you like to make a motion?
Yeah, I move that we do committee council selection for the vacated committees.
Do I have a second? Councilmember Stewart,
I'll second that motion.
we have a motion and a second. All in favor? No? Jason, take it over.
Thank you, Mayor. As I stated before, on October 3rd, pursuant to Council Rule 23.3, Councilmember Reed was removed from his committee responsibilities. Councilmember Reed was currently a member of the American Rescue Plan Act Committee, Finance and Personnel, Public Safety, as well as the alternate for lodging tax. In your packet on the agenda bill, I've listed each one of the committees that needs a member appointed to them. And under each committee, I listed the date that they meet. And then I also listed which council members are currently not on that committee. So think of this as your selection list. Only those that are on this agenda bill under that column are eligible to fulfill that role. If an alternate member is elected to replace, to become a permanent member, then council would have the option, if they desire, to also appoint an alternate for those committees. Now, historically, we do this process at the beginning of every 2 years, and we do it by seniority. Staff is open to what council's pleasure is tonight on how they want to appoint these. You could go down the seniority list. You could just talk amongst yourselves and figure out who's going to fulfill these roles. It's really your process at this point, and I'm happy to answer questions and facilitate as you desire.
Deputy Mayor Hochstetter.
Well, as I looked through this and thought that it looked like somewhat of a timely and maybe a little bit confusing process, I tried to think of something that would make it easier. And by looking at the eligibility list, I would like to suggest that we just bring the alternate up to fill that committee and leave the alternates a blank. We don't often need an alternate, and if someone can't make it, we usually say during the last part of the meeting, if someone can't attend, and ask for someone to fill that. And if they cannot, if no one steps forward, the committee can always just meet with two people. So that would mean that the ARPA committee, Ms. Potato would become the new ARPA member. On Personnel and Finance, Mr. Stewart would become the member. On Public Safety, that would put Mr. Brown as the member. And then on, that's the three committees that need something. So I'm open to more suggestions from people if they think they have another way to do this, or if someone doesn't want to take that, if they want to decline, and we'll pick someone from the rest of the eligible members that we have on our list here. So open for discussion from people.
Councilmember Brown.
Yes, I do not want to move up. So I decline. I have enough committees, I'm fine.
All right. Any other comments? Councilman, Deputy Mayor Hochstetter.
So that puts, if the alternate, Mr. Brown, declines from Public Safety, we have myself, Newman, or Stewart on the list that are eligible for that committee. Is there any of the other members who would be willing to pick up Public Safety?
Do we have any? Well, and seeing none, which means the alternate would be the regular member. The alternate takes over if nobody goes.
So at this point, if there's no other council members that want to step up, that would leave Public Safety with two members. That is the minimum required. So if council desires, they could just leave it that way. And if one of those two members is unable to attend, they could
Well, it
announce
would
that at a
go-
study
it-
session.
It would go to Brown as the alternate if two of the members couldn't, because he is already, he's not refusing to get off his committee. He's just refusing to become a full member. He would remain as alternate.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That could,
That's what I was saying.
sorry, I wasn't tracking you, Mayor.
Yeah, that's all right.
That'd be correct.
Okay. So Councilmember Newman,
What time does it meet?
The one page I didn't print. Chief, what time does it mean?
Wednesday, 5:30.
It's 5:30, so it's an evening one. I can do it.
All right. Councilmember Newman.
Yeah, there is a meeting this week, Councilmember Newman.
Okay.
So Mayor, just to recap, that would move Councilmember Potato to the primary position on ARPA, Councilmember Stewart to a primary position on Finance and Personnel, Councilmember Newman to Public Safety, and the alternate position occupied by Councilmember Reed on Lodging Tax can remain vacant. It's incredibly rare that we would need an alternate for that committee.
Right.
So if that's everybody's understanding, it would require just a roll call vote to confirm that.
Are we good with that? Kids? All right, Michelle, will you call the roll?
Potato,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes,
Stewart,
Yes.
Hochstetter,
Yes.
Cole. Yes. Newman,
Yes.
Thank you. Passes unanimous. Okay. Moving on to ordinance number 2836, 2023 utility rates. And I will call on Mike Dolam.
would you like a motion, Mayor?
Yes, we have a motion, please. Councilmember, go for it.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that we adopt ordinance number 2836, which is 2023 water, sewer, and stormwater utility rate adjustments, and authorize staff to update the Sumner utility rate and fee schedule accordingly.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Yes, I'll second that.
Seconded by Deputy Mayor Hochstetter. All right. I'm not going to call on Michael Kosa, but I will call on Director Mike
Thank you.
Dahlem.
You'd have to call pretty loud for Michael.
No. It-
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Tonight I bring before you ordinance number 2836, 2023 utility rates. I'm Mike Dahlem, the Public Works Director. The city manages 3 utilities: water, sewer, and stormwater. The operations of these utilities are supported by rates and system development charges. The city typically utilizes a consultant to conduct a rate study during the biennial budget process. And due to limited staff time and the challenge of incorporating the rate study simultaneously with the budget cycle, it was decided to change to conducting this study on off years of the budget cycle. The last rate study was completed in 2020. That study recommended utility rate adjustment in 2023 to maintain the financial health of the city utilities. Due to hyperinflation, cost of labor and materials, and the construction costs, it's vital that the utility rates be adjusted in 2023 to adequately fund the operations, maintenance, and capital improvement projects in each of those utilities. Rate increases as recommended by staff and discussed at the September 26, 2022 study session will be in effect January 1st of 2023. And the rate for water utility is increased by 6%. The rate for the sewer utility is increased by 6%. And the rate for the stormwater utility increased by 3%. Staff recommends the adoption of ordinance 2836, the 2023 water, sewer, and stormwater utility rate adjustments, and authorize staff to update the Sumner utility rate fee sheets. Can I answer any questions?
Any questions from council? Councilmember Brown.
Yes, what would be the average interest per resident?
The average increase for residents is $7.54 a month. $2.46 in water, $4.58 in sewer, and 50 cents in storm.
Anybody else? All right, seeing none. Thank you. All right. Nope. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak on this? Yeah. All right, come on up. Please put your name and address in there and
Sure. Good. Okay. All right. My name's Ken Cologne from 515 Kincaid Avenue. It may not seem like much, but that's another $10 hit.
Can I?
It went off again. It's red. I don't know if that means anything. We're good. Okay.
that's good.
So, but here we go again with, I get the last time it was done in 2020 was the last time we were going to do 2023. Here we go, increasing more of the fees for all the residents. Please, we really don't want this. You guys got to work within it. And I'm new at this. I'm really going to start drilling in and find out about if there is a reserve you have out there. If there's a reserve you guys have, boy, this just is flooring me. I haven't been here at a council meeting for a few years, but you guys got to really consider this. Earlier, I think the deputy mayor asked if there's any negatives to this or positives to these taxes. I don't think even you guys want the taxes to go up personally if you live here, but we don't want it either. Really reconsider this and start looking at where else you could shave some money, save some money. It seems like it's easy for everybody to just increase taxes, bring the money in, don't, and without looking at what you're expending. You know, I work in the aerospace. I haven't had a raise in 3 years. Okay, so it's going to affect people like us. The economy is going downhill real fast, and it doesn't help when you guys keep increasing taxes. And I don't think anybody wants these taxes. I get it. Reconsider it. Get together, take another look at the budget, and see where you guys could save some money instead of increasing it all the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Anybody else? All right. Seeing none. Michelle, would you call the roll?
Brown,
I'm torn. It didn't affect the other tabs, so this is a yes.
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Hochstetter,
Yes.
Newman,
Yes.
Shadow,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Thank you. Passes unanimous. Okay. Ordinance number 2837, amending the 2021-2022 biennial budget. Cassandra Raymond.
Mayor, would you like a motion first?
Yes, I do. A motion by Councilmember Boteto.
I make a motion to approve ordinance number 2837, amending the 2021-22 biennial budget.
Do I have a second?
Yes, I'll second that.
All right, seconded by Deputy Mayor Hochstetter. I call on Cassandra.
Thank you. So before you is ordinance 2837. This amends the 2021-2022 biennial budget. What this amendment does is appropriates funding for the Heritage Park Remediation Action Consultant Supplemental Agreement. And really the intent of that is to add funding to complete a pilot test study and provide a pilot test report. Approval of this action is subsequent to my item. So I will gladly defer to the engineer if there are any questions on the project specifics.
All right, thank you. Do we have any discussion on this? Cindy, do you? Okay. Deputy Mayor Hochstetter.
Yeah, I was just going to say that the engineer gave us a very, very good explanation of this. We all feel like we understand this subject and I just wanted to give her credit for making a difficult subject sound interesting and fun. Thank you.
All right, anybody in the audience want to speak on this? All right, seeing none. Clerk, please call the roll.
Hochstetter,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes,
Cole,
Yes.
Potato,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Newman,
Yes.
All right, passes unanimous. Okay, moving on. Sumner, Texaco Heritage Park Remediation. Councilmember Newman, would you like to make a motion?
Yes, I move that we approve the consultant services amendment for the Sumner Texaco Heritage Park remediation.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Deputy Mayor Hochstetter.
Yes, I'll second that.
Moved and seconded by Councilmember Newman and Hochstetter. I call on Elisa or Javier Alaya. Close.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Elisa O'Haver Ayala, Associate City Engineer. Requesting a consultant services agreement for the Sumner Texaco Heritage Park remediation, as I spoke to you about last week, and as the budget amendment was just approved.
Thank you. Any discussion among council members? Councilmember Brown.
Yeah, can you explain what we've been voting on?
So we are voting, or I am requesting a consultant services agreement amendment for our environmental consultant, PBS, to do some remedial injections pilot test for the contamination at Heritage Park.
Good. Anybody else? Councilmember Potato.
Does the city have the option to never deal with the, say we weren't doing anything over there and we know about it, we don't really have the option to not take care of that?
The city is on a list, Department of Ecology, Tacoma Pierce County Health Department. That site is listed as a contaminated site that the city owns. Every year we pay a fee to remain on that list and do nothing about it.
Oh,
To do nothing about it at this point, in the last 30 years since the city has owned that property, it appears that that contamination has continued to spread.
Right.
If we do nothing, it likely would continue to spread further.
what is the amount that we're fined in essence? Do you know?
I think it's 2,500 a year, something to that effect. I don't know the exact number.
But there is a penalty for not taking care of the problem.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right. Is there anybody in the public that would like to speak to this? Sure, come on up.
So you're saying it appears that it's spreading?
There was an area that had, speak to the mic. There was an area that was a former Texaco gas station.
Right.
Mayor, this is probably better. If we're gonna ask a lot of questions, probably better take it offline.
I'm not gonna ask a lot of questions, just 2 questions. That's all. 2 questions. I just would like just some
Mayor, it's your
clarification,
meeting.
just 2 questions, Jason.
Jason,
City Mayor.
and you say to take it offline?
Generally speaking, if members of the public have questions for the subject matter experts, we recommend that they speak directly to that person. And we don't generally engage in back and forth in a public meeting, but it's your meeting. And if you want to continue, that's just fine.
Okay,
Okay, but let
Ye-
me ask.
go ahead. Turn you on.
Ms. Marquez, is the expert the person that we're hiring with this contract?
No, I was referring to the staff expert, Elisa.
Yeah, so your question will be to the city engineer.
Mhm.
And that's what we're deciding whether it's an okay thing to do. because-
Generally, how we've handled questions from the public is that we would say, please speak with the staff member who will be able to answer your questions, but it is not done during the meeting at the podium.
Okay. Okay, now I'm understanding. What you're saying is usually we refer you to that engineer and then you step out in the hall and talk about it because you can't jeopardize the contract in any way. We're going to be hiring someone.
She should be allowed.
Yeah, so go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead and ask your question, Pam.
So to clarify, just to say what council's considering tonight, they're considering a contract amendment to an existing contract to do additional testing as well as a pilot project for,
Spend more money, right?
it's to clean up the site.
But it's to spend more money.
Correct. It is contract amendment to spend more money.
But it's a cleanup and it's something we need to do.
But we also should understand why. She said it appeared. So my question was, that's very vague.
Okay,
The word appeared is very vague.
all right. Thank you. Are you done? Do you have anything else? Deputy Mayor Hochstetter?
I'm wondering if I should ask you a question, and that is, that's allowed?
Yeah.
Can you tell us the amount of this money that we're spending in this contract? I think I read it, but,
The amendment is for 122,222.
and that's what we're voting on today?
Correct.
Okay, so that makes it clear. And let's see here. But we're already in the process of, this is testing to clean up a hazardous waste site.
Correct.
And that's the amount of money it'll take to continue with this project.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Comments or questions? Sure.
Like I said, it's red, right? Red's good?
Yeah.
Aye. Just a comment. We keep paying that $2,500 a year. That's gonna be about 48 years until we really have to do something about it. I like what your point of view is, what you talked about. Councilman Potato, can't say your name, I'm sorry. Here's the thing. I see that we have to clean it up. I get it. But there's also containment. And containment and paying that $2,500 a year might give us some time to, with the technology, is to save some money on the cleanup in the future. And what we're doing is we're getting consultants after consultant after consultant to add more to expenses. You know what I talked about earlier about looking at your expenses? Here's a great one. I think there's enough knowledge base in this city to make those decisions. And instead of hiring more, you already hired them, so you got to add more funds to get more answers from this guy. To clean up a site, there's also government support to clean up sites. And if you guys are trying to do it on your own, it's wrong. Quit asking, get in a consultant, make a decision and get it done. Because going on, you go 48 and a half years at $2,500 a year, 48 and a half years. So you've got time. We don't need to be spending that time wasting on more consultants. A consultant. You guys are smart people here. He's got a staff of a lot of smart people. Use them. Trust them. Listen to them. Quit getting consultants. They're overpaid. Just saying. Thank you.
Okay. Michelle, will you call the roll?
Councilmember Brown, did you want to say something?
Oh, I'm sorry, Kurt. Councilmember Brown.
This I don't know it's spreading.
They installed monitoring wells to the west. So they installed monitoring well at the location of the fuel tank and in 4 directions. One of them being south on Cherry Street, which is the direction the groundwater was flowing. And they encountered the contaminants further down Cherry than we anticipated. So it has spread in the 30 years that the city has owned the property. It has spread down Cherry and will continue to do so with the groundwater movement.
Thank you. Anybody else before we call? Councilmember Cole.
I have a quick question. I have grandkids that I actually take to that park, and I know this is happening underground. Is it a possibility that that could harm them one day above ground?
The contaminants were found at a depth between 13 and 19 feet below the ground surface. So playing in the park, they would not encounter them.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Councilmember Stewart.
Thank you. Question about if we do nothing, will it eventually have an impact on adjacent properties as far as their ability to develop, remodel, sell?
Yes.
What sort of impacts?
Most developers, when they purchase a property, a commercial property, would do an assessment. And if that was done, if they took samples, it would be found. If they did an evaluation on neighboring properties and it was found that ours was contaminated, which it is, it's on a public list, that would lead them to likely investigate further.
Okay, so would the Department of Ecology put a red tag on any future changes in any of that property? I realize you're speculating to answer.
I really can't speak to that and that whole process.
Okay,
That's why we have consultants who are experts on that we communicate with.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anybody else? Okay, Michelle. Can you call the roll?
Potato,
Yes.
Newman,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes,
Hochstetter,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Cole. Yes.
Thank you. Passes unanimous. Okay, so we will head for council reports. I will start with Councilmember Newman.
I would just like to thank everyone here for the increased participation at council meetings and for your comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Cole.
No report tonight.
Thank you. Councilmember Hochstetter.
Yes, nothing this evening. Thank you.
Councilmember Stewart.
thank you, Mayor. I too appreciate the public coming to express your opinions and give us your thoughts. And as we go through the agenda in a regular meeting, we often consider, as was the deal tonight, we consider items that were brought before the council in a study session, maybe one, maybe two study sessions, and the engineers develop their presentation so it's easy for us to understand. I'm not a scientist, I'm a numbers cruncher. They do a great job. So, and a lot of times the public will express dismay that we don't take a lot of conversation or do a lot of conversations in this meeting, but we have a lot of conversation in study sessions. And so I would encourage you to come to a study session, and the agenda is always on the city's website. It shows what's being discussed. And I believe you can see a copy of the packet, same thing that we see. So I would, unfortunately, I don't think during a study session that public comment is asked for, but you would at least get an idea of what's being discussed, be able to hear from the experts. And we have a lot of experts who oversee project development. They're not necessarily experts in remediation. That's the scientists that do that. So anyway, I just invite you to come or view study sessions so you kind of get to know what's going on behind the scenes before we bring it up in this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Botetto.
I have nothing tonight.
All right. Councilmember Brown.
All right. It took me to talk, but I'll get this out. I walk my dog every morning, and when she poops, I pick it up. I see poop all over the place, but I never see dogs running around by themselves. They're always on leashes. So I would encourage people to own does to pick up the poop. It's crazy.
Thank you. All right, city administrator.
Gonna go. All right, we'll try this again. Jason Wilson, your city administrator. Coming up at next week's study session, we'll be kicking off the 2024 comprehensive plan amendment and asking council to allow staff to move forward with opening that cycle up for suggestions from the public on what they'd like to see changed in the comprehensive plan. We'll also be wrapping up our 23-24 budget review, focusing on reserve funds, real estate excise tax, special revenue funds, and fiduciary funds. We'll circle back with a discussion on the unfunded items as well as the executive level cuts from the budget, and then a property tax follow-up discussion and a discussion regarding your use of council strategic reserves. On November 7th, so there's a 5th Monday in October, which is Halloween. I invite everybody out to do Street of Treats in our historic downtown Sumner area. And then back meeting again on November 7th for our regular council meeting, where you'll hold your first public hearing for the 23-24 biennial budget. You'll have a public hearing for a right-of-way vacation for the River Walk Trail, a resolution terminating the COVID-19 emergency proclamation, an easement agreement with Potelco for the Stewart Road Bridge, a Department of Commerce grant acceptance for the 2024 comprehensive plan, an agreement with Nisqually Jail for jail services, and a resolution setting the 23 ad valorem property taxes. On the personnel front, I'm pleased to announce that we hired an entry-level police officer named Lucas DeVore. He started with us today and will be going to the academy in November. As you know, the academy is a long process followed by field training here at the city. So he'll be in training for probably about the next 8 to 9 months before he is available for solo patrol. Some policy follow-up. Pleased to announce the finance department released a little over $50,000 in ARPA funds to support utility payment assistance. This is something that council passed last month. And also all the business grant recipients have signed their agreements and the money's been distributed. They did, all of them express sincere gratitude to the council. And I forwarded you earlier this evening a bunch of thank you notes from those recipients. And just a reminder for our viewing public, as Councilmember Stewart mentioned, all of our council packets, agendas, and presentations are on our website, including recordings of all study sessions. I encourage anybody to review those to get a more in-depth view of what council is considering during regular council meetings. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Seeing none. Thank you. And I will join in with Councilmember Stewart. You know, by the time we get to the council meeting, we've between committees and study sessions and that we've kind of beat these issues to death. So we do study these and but I do appreciate all the input and thank you for coming to our meeting. And we do have a special study session after this meeting. So thank you very much and meeting adjourned at 7:05.
How big of a break do we have?
We have a few minutes, I think.